When I point to you, I want you to complete this famous television theme song. Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Oh, yeah, we may be old, but we knew great TV, didn't we? Right? Dragnet. My name is Friday. I'm a cop. For you young'uns, you have no idea what you're missing, as usual. And what you will know is that Dragnet was the best police show on TV in the 1960s. And you know how really good shows can sometimes stir imagination? Well, Dragnet did that for me. But it really wasn't much of imagination. I knew that I was meant to be a cop. Oh yeah, I definitely was. It was in my mentality, my DNA. I couldn't escape it. When I was old enough to talk, everybody was saying hello. I said, freeze. When people were showing pictures of their homes, their girlfriends, their boyfriends, I just wanted to see their driver's license and proof of insurance. And you know, once I was attacked by killer bees. You know who I called? SWAT. Okay? Oh, yeah. So you can imagine how excited I was in 1979 when I had an opportunity to apply as a negotiator for the Washington, D.C. Police Department. I was a graduate student in communication, and I thought it would be fascinating. Those were the days when social scientists and police officers worked really well together. They were inextricably related. They needed each other. So it's really not unusual that those kind of jobs were open. So I applied and I was accepted, and my instructor was magnificent. Fernando Francisco, he was magnificent. And Sergeant Francisco was the kind of person who just made sure that we were all really well trained. Now the truth is, I never really wanted to go to any scene. That's kind of dangerous, you know? I don't want to do anything dangerous, not really. Besides, the truth is, the best thing that I got out of being a negotiator is that I had this pager, and it was great on a date. You know, a date would say, excuse me, what is that pager doing on your belt? Oh, well, I'm a hostage negotiator for the Washington, D.C. Police Department, and I could be called upon any moment now to save a village. Let's have a drink. So it really worked out well in those situations. And then I thought to myself, you know, I'm not going to really ever be called to a scene anyway, so, you know, I'm good, I'm fine. And then lo and behold, Christmas Eve, 1979, I get a call to report to a scene, 411 East Street, not a very good part of town in Washington, D.C. It was a mom and pop five and dime that was broken into, and I was supposed to meet my trainer there. So I got there, and it's not anything like TV. There weren't a whole lot of cars there. There were a couple of cop cars with lights, and that was about it. And I was there to kind of watch, if you will, and I asked the officer in charge, well, what's going on? He says, well, there's a Caucasian male in his mid-30s who broke into that store, and he took 6 people hostages, and he's got a gun. I said, ooh, that sounds pretty serious. And then he said to me, and your trainer can't show up. Well, I said, what do you mean? What do you mean he can't show up? He can't be here. He's got an emergency. I said, and this isn't, right? No, he has confidence in you, though. He thinks you can take it, so just go ahead and do. Just go ahead and take it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm an academic. I can't actually do anything, right? So I grabbed the megaphone, because the stuff of cheerleaders, there were no pagers, there were no cell phones, and I take this megaphone and I'm talking to the guy who's about 30 yards away. Hey, listen, I'm not an officer. I have no weapons. What happened, man? What happened today? What happened today that would force you to break in and do that? We're supposed to say stuff like that. And he barks out a few things, and about 20 minutes later, he yells, "Get in here! Get in here!" And the officer in charge looks at me, points, and said, "That would be you." said, I'm not going in there. He says, okay. I just want you to know there's a mother, father, daughter, son, whoever, and they're not going to see Christmas morning unless you get in there. I said, okay, thank you. I got the idea. So I mustered up the bravery that I needed, and I started to walk toward this 5 and 10. It was a slow walk. It was like waltzing in wet cement. One foot in front of the other, and my heart just dropped to my gut and stayed there. And I kept thinking to myself, what is he going to look like? What position, what condition are the hostages in? What happens if I get shot? I mean, what will that even feel like? And then it occurred to me, I am a doctoral student in communication. What better skill set can you use to get yourself out of this jam, right? I could talk my way out of anything. So armed with that epiphany, I decided I was going to just go ahead and run toward this shop, and I was going to kick down the door. I've always wanted to do that. So just like a bowl with steam coming out of his nose, I got ready, and I ran to the shack, this store, this 5 and 10 thing that was falling down with danger inside, and I kicked down the door. Well, the door was really thin and it was falling off the hinges, but nevertheless, you get the idea. And I was a badass. I really was, yeah. And I looked at the guy, and he looked normal, the guy with the gun, and he said, well, what do you want to talk about? I said, I don't really want to talk about anything. I want you to put the gun down. I don't know why, but he didn't do it. And he said, don't worry, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to shoot you. And I asked him, I said, well, are you going to shoot them? Pointing to the hostages. And he said, no, I'm not going to shoot them. I said, well, then why are they here? You like that line? That was pretty good, huh? Right? Why are they here? So with that, I gestured the hostages to stand up and to walk out the door. As they did, they were hugging me and thanking me, but I told them, please don't do that yet. Just get out of here safely. You can hug me later. You can thank me later. But right now, just get out of here calmly, securely, safely. And they did. And then I turned to that guy again and I said, put the gun on the floor. I mean, it must have been my words, my cadence, but it paralyzed him. He put the gun on the floor as if he had no choice. I said, all right, now we're going to walk out of here together, palms open, to make sure that the police don't think we're of any threat. We walked out together, palms open, toward the light. You know, sometimes Dr. Seuss always said, oh, the places you'll go. I never want to go back to this again. Ever want to go back to this again. The man was apprehended. You know, all of the hostages loved me. They bribed me. They wanted to give me money. And they were just wonderful, wonderful people. I was happy that I could save their lives, my golly. It made me feel good in my life. But you know, I really feel good about my career as a professor. I don't have to go back and do anything else. I really don't. I loved what I did all of these years. But every once in a while, when I'm in the mood, I grab a DVD from one of those Dragnet episodes, and I pop it in. I sit back and relax, pretend I'm a Republican for 30 minutes, and enjoy the show. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Thank you.